Good afternoon. You're watching Business World Live here on One News. I'm Jess De Los Santos. Let's have a look at how the local bourse closed today, Monday. Okay, trading started on a high note this week with shares managing to stay in the green for majority of this session, but with gains paring back during the closing hour. Another last-minute buying pushed shares higher by 0.5% to 7,036.38. But Rustin Mercado of China Bank Securities is being cautiously optimistic during this morning's broadcast. He noted how volumes haven't been convincing. Add to that pending economic data such as inflation, which is expected to be out tomorrow, amid expectations, of course, that it has eased for the month of June. There's also the Delta variant, which the country appears to have in control, at least according to Mercado. And of course, the Taal eruption, which affected the markets when it acted up last year. But for Mike Ricafort of RCBC, he says things are looking bright from here on. He sees the index retesting the 7,100 to 7,400 level, especially should the economy be further reopened. Now, looking at our leaderboard, gainers outnumbered the laggards here with only six of the 30-member index in the red. BDO had it worst down close to a percent, with the year's best performers, ICTSI and Emperador, also in the negative territory. Now, DMCI is a day's best performer, up 2.25% to 6 pesos and 85 centavos a share. Now, on to some specific stocks here. Petron is eyeing SEC approval for the shelf registration of as much as 50 billion pesos. The oil player is pegging its initial offer to be as high as 18 billion pesos. BDO will be sole issue manager with China Bank, Philippine Commercial Capital, PNB Capital, and SB Capital as joint book runners for the first tranche. Petron shares jumped today by 7.8% to 3 pesos and 60 centavos apiece, bringing stock price to levels seen last February. And lastly, in the property space, you have Cebu Land Masters. After having an upbeat first half year, reservation sales surged by as much as 14% to a record 8.5 billion pesos. That's on the back of a sustained housing demand in Visayas and Mindanao. Most of that still coming from Cebu at 29%, while Iloilo accounted for 27% of the sales. Cagayan de Oro had 20%. Now, the regional developer has also entered the high-end market in anticipation of a post-pandemic boom. Now, they're positive that they are on track to reach a 15 to 20% income growth target this 2021. Again, Cebu Land Master, as you can see right here now, at 3 pesos and 75 centavos the piece, up 1.4%. Now, the pandemic has given birth to various digital platforms, from contact tracing apps to logistic channels, and now even digital logbooks, like in the case of Safify. Now, to tell us more about that and their other ventures, we have with us on the show Multisys Tech Corporation CEO David Almiron. Good afternoon, David.
Hi, Jester. Good afternoon.
Okay, so first, tell us more about Safify. How does a digital logbook work, and how will it help in the rollout of vaccines? Like in the case of the MVP group, I believe Safify will be used for the group's vaccine rollout.
Yes, actually, a Safify is not a digital logbook. It is actually it's a co-developed platform between MPHHI and Multisys. So this platform is actually a platform from supply chain of the vaccine to the vaccination administration process, down to the post monitoring, including the monitoring of symptoms, down to the second dose of the vaccination. So it's an end-to-end process of from supply chain to vaccination administration.
So again, it's not limited to being just a logbook of how things are faring when it comes to vaccine rollout. It's an end-to-end platform here. So far, though, how's the take-up here with the application? How many firms at least have already expressed interest in using the app?
Currently, Safify is being implemented to the MVP group of hospitals first. but we plan to expand this, as we finish the group first, because currently this will be used to administer vaccination to uh, MVP group of companies employees first. But we plan to implement a massive marketing, maybe fourth quarter this year.
Fourth quarter this year. Now we also have a lot of other platforms here, even for logistic services here like Delivery Box and Ding Dong. How's that coming along, and how are you faring in an already competition laden market?
Well, we don't intend to compete, but we intend to empower more e-commerce players. That's why we recently launched our multi-store platform. Basically, multi-store platform is a combination of three of our platforms. So combination of Storebox, which is the storefront, web front, and store management platform. Second is the delivery box. So we're able to integrate with dozens of delivery courier company to provide thousands of riders to e-commerce players. Lastly, we're able to integrate as well our Paybox platform. So it's like a combination of Storebox, delivery box, and Paybox. That's the multi-store platform.
And so far, what's the level of interest here for all these platforms that you have?
There's a huge interest. So currently, we are uh, implementing a SaaS version of our multi-store platform. So by next month, there will be a massive launching of our multi-store platform, currently being used by DingDong.ph, is also implemented to Mercato, implemented also to Bring of Marvin Agustin, and other players in the e-commerce business nowadays. So we expect to onboard hundreds of merchants next year as well.
And the plan is, of course, to go beyond Metro Manila.
Not only Metro Manila, so it's a good. We're also launching this to two countries actually, so we're able to launch this also in a very small way in the UK and also one country also in Southeast Asia.
Can you at least specify the country for us, the one in Southeast Asia?
So for the moment, we cannot
Mhm.
disclose for the moment because we have a strategic partner in that particular country.
All right, all right. Now, can you give us the latest on Stay Safe here? I believe you have already turned over the app to the government, but has sufficient tech transfer been done?
We already donated this to the government. It's being managed and operated now by the ILG. So all data and source code, everything is ready with them. So we are assisting them just in case they still need assistance. But for the moment, they are very independent. So they are now managing it by themselves.
And that includes as well all the collected data has also been transferred to the government already.
That is correct. Yeah.
Mhm. Now, would you say as well that the platform has been maximized based from how you saw things happen since you launched last year? Do you think that the goal of having other contact tracing apps integrated into the system in a way has been achieved?
Well, it's up to the decision now of the government since they already own the platform. So there's a lot of potential to stay safe, but it's up to them to maximize it. The integration is readily available there. API is available there, including maximization of several features. They can still use that. It's up to them. But for the moment, it's their decision how they're gonna maximize that. As long as if they still need our assistance, so we're here to help. But for the moment, they're very independent now.
Now, of course, during the pandemic, you had a host of platforms here that you launched. Any other industries here or areas that Multisys is targeting or at least is already entering into?
We're focusing more on e-commerce here. Of course, our e-payment play is also a big one since we're able to integrate ourselves to multiple payment channels. We're able to launch also a lot of super apps. So these are super apps of other, big conglomerates as well that we're able to build, including several e-payment or e-wallet systems that we're able to build. And lastly, we will be focusing also on e-banking. And currently, we're developing also our own core banking system called Multibank that can be launched also next year.
So, is a probable license, digital bank license via from the BSP also in the offing here for Multisys, at least for that particular
No,
unit? Mhm.
no, we're not gonna do our own e-banking. We are
Mhm.
just a software company to develop platforms to multiple banks, including rural banks as well.
All right. Thank you very much for your time this afternoon. Again, Multisys Tech Corporation CEO David Almiral. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Yes.
Here are other headlines we're keeping our eyes on. The 30 billion peso Cebu Cordova Link Expressway, or CCLEX, nears completion. The Metro Pacific Tollways Corporation is now preparing to install an electronic toll system that will facilitate cashless transactions. The toll operator expects CCLEX to be finished by the end of the year. The project is expected to serve around 50,000 vehicles daily and open more economic activity between Cebu City and the rest of the Visayas region. Now, the national government's outstanding debt surpassed 11 trillion pesos as of end May. That's according to the Bureau of Treasury. Preliminary data also show the country's debt pile slightly up by 79 billion pesos from the end April level, with peso's strength tempering further increases. Local debt stock was slightly higher during the period, while external debt slightly declined due to peso appreciation and net foreign loan repayments. Multilateral lenders extended additional funding for the Philippines to aid its COVID-19 response and vaccination rollout. Now, over in Batangas, evacuation and relief efforts continue following volcanic activity in Taal. The Department of Social Welfare and Development distributed tents, food, and other necessities in 25 evacuation centers, particularly in the towns of Agoncillo and Laurel. The health department, meanwhile, is looking to ramp up vaccination in 95 evacuation centers housing Taal evacuees. FIVOX monitored 22,000 tons of sulfur dioxide gas emission from Taal on Sunday. This is the highest level of emission so far, exceeding even that of last week and last year's eruption. Good news, though, the agency says this will have no effect on people since it was expelled at higher altitude. And those are the biggest stories this trading day, July 5, 2021. Catch Business World live again tomorrow at 9:30 a.m. for the market open and 3:15 p.m. for the market close. I'm Jess De Los Santos. We are One News. Mask on, wash hands, and stay safe, Philippines.